Hi everyone, welcome to Electronics with Professor Mughal. I'd like to apologize for not being able to produce videos consistently recently, and that's because I've been crazily busy. But I received so many requests last few weeks. A lot of you wanted me to do a vending machine, so here is it. I'm going to go through the vending machine for the most part. There are a few other modules in this project. I'm not going to go over it because I have done it many times in my other tutorials. So for example, in this vending machine, we're going to have the clock, which I have. Basically, it's an input, it's a Basys 3-port clock, the 100 megahertz one. You have a reset button, and hence on the left you see these are all the source files. We have debounce, one for the reset, one for the quarter, and one for the dollar. So the vending machine can accept a quarter and a dollar bill. And then we have this input right here, which is basically selecting the product. So in this vending machine carries 4 different kinds of product. And for each product there are 4 trays, and each tray can carry up to 15 items. So at its full stock it basically has 60 items, 15 each for each product. Once the item is or the product is selected, user then inputs buy, which is another push button. Whenever this button is pressed, then the product will be dispensed depending upon if the money that is inserted into the vending machine is equal to the price of the product or greater than the price of the product. We also have this load input, which basically whenever this we run out of stock in the vending machine, the LED light will turn on, and then we can load the 4 products by using the switches. We also have 2 outputs here, one for the money. So this money is basically money that goes into not necessarily money that goes into vending machine, money that will be withdrawn from the vending machine. So for example, if you're trying to buy a gum which is 25 cents, if you insert $1, then the return will be 75 cents. And then you have the output products. So whichever product you select, maybe you could set it to turn a LED on. And then also you have out of stock right here, which means anytime a product runs out of stock, then the LED will turn on. So we got 4 LEDs, one each for each stock in the vending machine, each product in the vending machine. Here are a bunch of registers that I have. Let's look at line number 38. The first one is the quarter previous value, the dollar previous value, and the buy previous value. So anytime an input, a money is inserted into the machine, it gets stored into these registers, because we want to keep track of how much money is going in. For example, if you insert a quarter, then the quarter previous will carry 25 cents, and next time when you insert another quarter, that 25 cents will be added to what is value in there. And because we had inserted 25 cents earlier, then the new value that will be stored in quarter previous will be 50 cents. So if you add another 25 cents, it will add 50 cents plus 25 cents, and then it becomes 75 cents. Same things with dollar. And then also the buy previous. Initially, we're going to have the full stock, the 4 products. Those are each tray will carry up to 15 items. So remember, stock 0 is basically the gum. This is your product 1. Then you have stock 1, which is chocolate, and you got stock 2, chips, and then you got drinks. Okay, gum is for 25 cents, chocolate is for 75 cents, $1.50 for chips, and drinks is $2. Maybe I can write down over here. So this is gonna be $1.5, this is gonna be 75 cents, and this is going to be 25 cents over here. So the way the working principle of the vending machine as a state machine, basically in the every rising edge of the clock, in every rising edge of the clock, the machine looks for a rising edge on quarter, dollar bill, and buy. Okay, and like I was telling you, whatever the money is being inserted gets stored in here, and it always looks for whether user is trying to buy a certain product or not. So whenever, remember that the product is only going to be dispensed when the user hits the buy button, and depending upon how much money is in there, it will withdraw the money. We also have a reset button over here. The reset is basically going to make the display on the segment set to 0. So any money that may have been previously inserted, it will be just nullified, and it will just simply take the machine back to its reset states. Just remember, reset does not necessarily mean it's going to reset the machine in a way that it will restock stuff. No, it will not. If you had 8 products, if you have 8 items for one product, pressing the reset button does not necessarily going to reset the stock as well. It's just reset the money that was inserted into the machine. Okay, else if the quarter underscore previous, if there has nothing been inserted previously, and then the user, the customer, puts in a quarter, then the money should increase by 25 cents. Again, remember, money is a register which we declared over here as an output, and it is 12-bit. You are going to set this to initially to 0, so when the quarter goes in, the logic will go up by 25 cents. Okay, similarly, when a dollar bill goes in, the money will increase by 100 cents. Okay, and then if the buy previous was 0, and now the user, after inserting the money, clicks on the button buy, so the logic goes to 1, then we look for what? Well, it's going to dispense the product, but because we have 4 different products, 4 different selections, we're gonna go through all of those 4 products, 4 selections, one by one. So if the logic is using the switches is set to 0001, which means user wants to buy gum. Remember, this is gum, this is chocolate, this is chips, and this is a drink. So this, you cannot have more than one input high at the same time, otherwise it's not going to work the way I have set it up. So if the gum, the user wants to buy a gum, that means it's going to look for the money which needs to be greater than or equal to 25 cents, because the price of the gum is 25 cents. And it's also going to look up at the stock, whether we have enough in the stock or not. If the stock is greater than 0, stock 0, remember, stock 0 is your gum, right? So if the stock 0 is greater than 0, then it's going to turn the product 01 on, basically just saying, hey, gum is gonna be on. Stock is gonna go down by 1, because, so say if there were 15 gums initially, now we have 14 gums after the buy button is pressed. And also it's supposed to display the money that needs to be withdrawn from the vending machine. So if a user inserted $1 and he wants to buy a gum, so $1 minus 25 cents, because gum is 25 cents, 75 cents will be displayed on the screen, and that is the money that needs to be withdrawn. Okay, similarly, if the user wants to buy a chocolate, which is 75 cents, right? So it's going to look for the money needs to be greater than or equal to 75 cents, and if we have stock 1 greater than 0, stock needs to be greater than 0. If this statement is true, if the both conditions are met, then stock basically goes down by 1. So this is stock 1. Product 1 is basically just gonna light up the LED which product is being dispensed, and the money goes down by 75 cents. So if you again inserted $1, you want to buy chocolate, $1 minus 75 cents, 25 cents will get stored in money, and that is going to be displayed on the 7th segment. And similarly, if you want to buy a bag of chips, that is $1.50, so that's 150 cents, and so the money needs to be greater or equal to 150 cents. And we will also make sure that we have bags of chips in stock. If that is the case, both statements are true, these 3 lines will be executed. And what they basically do, products 2, that means bag of chips is going to be dispensed, and this LED goes on. Stock 2 goes down by 1, and money will also 150 cents will be subtracted from the money. And finally, I have, this is the drink. Drink is $2, which is 200 cents. So if these 2 conditions are met, then these lines are basically executed. And again, this is the same thing. Product 3, which is the drink, that goes high. The stock will go down by 1 because we are buying a drink. The user is buying a drink, and the money, whatever was inserted, minus 150 cents, that is going to be the return to the customer. And follow it up by end case, else if the previous buy was 1 and buy equals to 1 bar be 0. So if the buy button is not pressed, all 4 products LED will just simply be 0. Now, because we also wanted to keep track of the out of stock, remember each tray will have 15 items of each product. So tray 1 will have gum, tray 2 will have chocolate, tray 3 will have bag of chips, and tray 4 will have drinks, and 15 maximum, right? So if the stock is 0, that means the gum, we have ran out of gum, then the out of stock 0 will be set to 1, and LED will light up indicating that we are out of gum. Else out of stock will always be 0. Similarly, if we run out of chocolates, well, out of stock LED for the chocolate will be on. If that's not the case, then it will always be off. And similarly, same thing for the bag of chips and for the drink. Finally, the load. Anytime you ran out of stock, item needs to be stocked back again. And the maximum we can have on each tray for each product is 15. So when the load, which is the switch, if this switch is gonna be on, you can only load 1 product at a time. So if you want to load gum, you are going to set the load 1 and then stock 0 will initialize at 4 bar B 1111. We know 1111 makes a code for 15. Similarly, if you want to load the chocolate, you set this bit to 1, and then it will initialize the stock and restock it to 15 items. Same thing goes for the bag of chips and for the drink. Follow it up by end case, and then you got this end, and then the end module right there. Right, so this is your vending machine. I also want to show you how your top module is going to look like. And like I was mentioning earlier, I don't want to go through all of these modules because I've covered it many times. I'll leave the link in the description. Binary to BCD module is basically converting into ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. Those are going to be displayed on the 7th segment. 7th segment decoder right here, just basically rotating the screen, rotating the segment 1 by 1. There's actually a separate video that I've done on this. I'll leave the link in the description again. And then this is the 7th segment decoder. For every segment, for every number, BCD number, this is how these segments will work. Okay, all right. Let's go back to the top module. Top module, you got the clock, the reset button, the buy button, 25 cents, 100 cents. Then we got the switches. You got 8 switches. Remember that the first 4 switches for selecting the product and remainder of switches to load the product. Okay, all right, and then we got 8 LEDs, 4 LEDs for the product that is being purchased, and 4 LEDs for the out of stock. Okay, and then finally we have segment and enable. We are also going to declare a bunch of wires, so the outputs of all these modules, debounds, binary to BC, 7 segment, output of all those will be declared as wires, as you can see over here. Okay, this is instantiating the debounds module 3 times. For the buy, remember this one was for the buy, this one was for the right is quarter, the left button is for dollar. I could have just added one more for the reset, but it's really not needed, so I'm not gonna worry about it. And then binary to BCD module, and then 7 segment. Make sure to follow the same sequence for your inputs and output ports as they appear over here. So for example, for 7 segment module, I got clock, clear, and the 4 inputs. So if you look at top module, you should have clock and clear, the 4 inputs, 1000, 100, stands, and 1 segments and enable, right? So just follow the sequence. And then similarly, we're going to follow the sequence for vending machine as well. Vending machine, if you recall, we started off by clock, reset, quarter, dollar, and that's what we have. Clock, up button is a reset button, clear button is the this is the quarter button, this is the dollar button, this is the selection of the product, this is the buy button, this is the for the load, this is for the money, and then we have the 8 LEDs for that represents the product and out of stock, right? So this is your top module right here. I'm gonna at this point, all you want to do is run implementation, but don't forget to put your constant file up in there as well. So you need a clock here, you need the 8 switches, you need the 8 LEDs here, you would need the 7 segments, and then the 4 enablers right here, and then finally you will need the 4 push buttons. Button C is for the buy, button L is for the dollar, button R is for the quarter, and button up is for the reset. And then like you see already, I've already done the implementation and generated a bitstream file. I was able to upload the bitstream file onto the FPGA board, and now I'm going to show you how the implementation of this design looks on the board. Let's now check the implementation of the design. So I'm going to hit the reset button here. So notice everything goes back to 0. These are the 4 switches, the first 4 switches on the right. These are for selecting the items. So I have labeled them, or this is for the gum, this is for the chocolate, this is for the chips, and this is for the drink. The next 4 are going to be for the load, as you can see. Okay, so if you want to load the gum, you press this, use the switch set to 1, and then it will automatically restock everything. Correct? Okay, now let's say I want to buy a gum and I insert a quarter. As you see, the counter goes to 25 cents, and if I want to buy gum, I want to turn the switch to 1, and also I want to hit the buy button. And as you notice, if I hit this buy button, the counter here goes to 0 because 25 cents for the gum, the money deposit was quarter, so there's nothing that needs to be withdrawn here, right? So there's no change due at this time. But if I hit $1, and if I now hit the buy button, then the counter goes down to 75 cents because this is the change that's due. If I hit the buy button one more time, say 2 more times, every time I press the button, the counter goes down by 25 cents. Now I have purchased all the gums, and I believe I purchased 5 of the gums. So say, if I insert $2, and if I want to buy gum again, I just keep on hitting the buy button, and you will see, notice here, the counter will keep on decreasing by 25 cents. And say if I want to buy more gum, because I want to show you, once the 15 gums have been dispensed, you will see the LED will turn on, right? The LED turns on, and if I set the logic of this switch to 1, the LED goes off, and that means I have basically restocked everything. And if I press this hit button, the buy button again, it will continue to dispense gum, right? Whereas it was not doing because the out of stock LED was high, right? So similarly, if the chocolate goes out, then you will see this LED on. If the chips goes out of stock, then this LED will turn on, and you can use these switches to stock the stuff. So let's say if you want to buy, I'm going to reset this. So hitting this reset everything, reset the counter basically, not the stocks. If I want to buy, say, chips, right, and I insert $1, and then I insert 2 quarters, so 1 quarter, second quarter, 150 cents. And if I want to buy chips, I make sure this switch is turned on, and if I hit the button, chips being $1.50, the counter goes to 0, right? Similarly, if I want to buy drink, I need to insert $2 bills, which I did. You see 200 cents, that represents $2. I'm going to change this switch logic to 1. That means I want to buy drink being $2. Actually, I might have insert $2. This is the drink. I hit the buy button, and the logic goes to 50. And as you saw, there's something wrong anytime I try to dispense buy drink. If I insert $200 and if I hit the buy button, the balance, the withdraw money should be 0, not 50 cents. That means there's something error in the code. Let's go and fix it real quick and then come back. So now that I have fixed the logic, let's try it one more time. I'm going to deposit $2, so that's 200 cents. I want to buy a bag of chips, actually a drink, which is $2. So let's set the logic to 1 there. And if I press the hit button now it goes to 0. So we were able to fix it, but it should be working fine now. So say if I want to insert $2, I want to buy a bag of chips, so let the switch go to high. And if I hit the button buy, then $2 minus $1.50, that gives me a change of 50 cents. And this is how your vending machine is working. If you have more than one switch set high at one time, and if you press the buy button, nothing happens, it just freezes, right? So if you like, you can actually make a lot of changes to it, make it much more fancy. I just wanted to get something to you all where you could start making changes to this and make it much more fancier if you wish. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Wish you good luck. Enjoy your rest of the day. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. If the videos have been helpful, I'll appreciate that. Thank you. Bye.